Hello and welcome to Can't Understand Normal Thinking. So this podcast is basically just going to be me for today, which is fine. We'll figure out what I'm going to do for like solo streams and stuff like that. I'll see if I can come up with a lo-fi playlist to have in the background. My green screen didn't arrive in time. Shocker, I know. So I feel like I would just use this in the meantime, this nice little purple background with a nice little layout. So I figured out this would be okay for now. Next week I will have the green screen. I'll have the new set. It'll look great. But yeah, no, for episode 2 of Can't Understand Normal Thinking, I basically, it's just going to take like current events that have happened recently that I wanted to talk about. Just certain things that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like the Oscars being one of the big ones. Like the fact that they had to kick homeless people out of where they were staying just to host the Oscars shows how entitled fucking Hollywood is. Because honestly, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a fuck about Oscars anymore. You're here, but you're gonna try to be here as long as possible. Hey, yeah, no worries, Vip. Hey, all the power to you. But yeah, so essentially, like, for some reason, the Oscars decided to kick out a bunch of homeless people to celebrate something nobody cared about. Like, if you look at the actual like ratings, it's like year over year, it's like 60% of the viewers are gone. Like that's huge. that's big. And yet, like if you look at the Game Awards, it's like exponentially growing into the hundreds of millions at this point. So Oscars is pretty much by the wayside. Nobody cares. Streamies get more viewers at this point than fucking Oscars, and yet they have the nerve to kick homeless people out of the where they're staying to try to stay safe in order to host it. It makes no sense. And then when you watch that shit, all they're trying to do is push as much propaganda and opinions as they can. It's like, you're an actor. Act like it. Nobody wants to fucking deal with the fact that you are an actor and you want to have an opinion about something nobody cares about. It's like if I were to start trying to push my opinions down people's throat. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear my opinion. I'm here for the entertainment purposes. Some people might want to hear my opinions on some things because I might think like they do. But nobody knows anything about celebrities. Like, do you know anything personal about Brad Pitt other than he was married to a really hot lady and had a bunch of kids? No, we don't know what he does for fun or any of that shit. So why would we think we have the similar mindset to him? Whereas with like streamers and that, you interact with them so frequently that you almost develop a kind of relationship that makes it so you can appreciate their opinions. But actors, you can't. I don't see why or how you could. Unless you're actually like friends with them, there's no reason why you should think that their opinion is valid for anything. For all you know, they could be a raging racist when they're off the camera. It's happened before. They could be pedophiles. Happened before. Look at Epstein. Look at all his friends. Look at all the people like Jared Fogle and all that. Nobody knew about this shit until they dug deeper. It's the same thing for like any kind of opinion, though. You don't know who that person is, yet you're trying to listen to them pander on something. It just doesn't make sense to me. Go to sleep. It's freaking middle of the night. Not where I am. It's only 8:30 where I'm at. You don't even watch the Oscars. Doesn't pique your interest. But that's my point. Like the thing is why did they bother doing the Oscars in a year where there was basically no new movies, no decent movies anyway, and like they got pissed off that Chadwick Boseman didn't win an Oscar. I know he's passed away. I know it sucks that Anthony Hopkins beat him out, but I don't know, act better. Anthony Hopkins' performance as the father, or in The Father, was insane. Like, I didn't even see the movie, but just from the little bits of clips that I've seen on YouTube, it's why Anthony Hopkins is Sir Anthony Hopkins. Like, he is a phenomenal actor. And people are mad that he got an award because he's white. Like, what kind of backward ass shit is that? Like, if you replace the word white with black, how pissed off do you think they would be if, like, let's say Chadwick Boseman won, and everybody on the internet started going, "Oh, how could you do this? You keep pushing white propaganda, yet you're giving the award to some black guy." It would spark outrage. That person would get murdered before they even left the house. Like, there's no way that would be okay. But because, I don't know, because Anthony Hopkins is white, it's okay to diminish his achievements? No, that's not okay. That's not all right at all. America's a fucked up country. This is why I love living in Canada, because honestly, I could not deal with the bullshit that happens in America anymore. It's insane. It's insane. Everything is peddling and pandering. There's no truth to anything in America anymore. It's insane. I don't understand how this is still going. Like, hasn't Hollywood seen the decline? Don't they realize what they're doing is going to destroy their industry? Don't they realize that pandering to the loud, minuscule amounts of people is not as good as pandering to the quiet yet reasonable ones? There's more of us out there that are quiet and reasonable than there are that are loud and stupid. We in Poland are racists, but for some unknown reason, we are not racist to Asians. Okay. I wonder why that would be. Like, I mean, in America, if you're racist to everybody. I don't think there really is like a partial racist. I don't think I've ever seen somebody who's like an admitted racist that just accepts one other race other than their own. It's strange. It's strange how the mentality works, because everything now is Black Lives Matter. That's true. Everything now is being pushed as Black Lives Matter. And then the thing is that movement isn't even that great. Like, most of the people that are running that movement ended up just pocketing all the money and like becoming millionaires. And like, I don't understand how people aren't more mad about that. Like, I know they're probably doing some good out there, but it doesn't seem like they're doing the type of good that they were promising they would. And they seem to be left to hanging out to dry, but I think that's more so because of Antifa than it is because of BLM. BLM, I think, gets a worse rap because of Antifa. Antifa is so toxic and backwards that even if your movement is even remotely associated with it, it kind of brings its credibility down by like 1,000%. Like, I don't think there's a single person out there that actually thinks being a part of Antifa is cool. And if they do think that, odds are they're like some scrawny nerd that was like about to shoot up a school, but instead they decided to join Antifa so they could shoot up stores instead. Like, either way, they're still fucking idiots. I don't understand how Antifa is still allowed to be a thing either. Like, they're a vigilante anti-fascist group, but yet they act like fascists. That's like being against Hitler, but you're like also just trying to eradicate the Germans, you know? Like, just because you hate Hitler doesn't mean you should destroy all like eradicate all Germans. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird way that I'm putting it, I know. But it's like, just because you're fighting a wrong with a wrong doesn't make you right. It's like fighting fire with fire and expecting to not get burnt, if that makes sense. Antifa's that type of fighter. They use every dirty tactic they can think of, and they spread propaganda like it's nobody's business. And then all they do is make BLM look worse. Like, half of the attacks that I've seen that are like being touted as BLM activists, it's not. It's just Antifa. It's Antifa ruining everything for everybody. They're not on anyone's side. They're on the side of chaos. They're like if Reddit was like an organization, or well, I guess Reddit is an organization. They're like if Reddit was a movement where every incel from r/incels or whatever the fuck kind of weird shit they're going to be on decided to put on a baklava and go outside and just decide to destroy everything they can because they can't get laid. Like, that's literally the energy Antifa has. It's so odd. It's so weird. And anybody who supports them, man, if anybody says to me, oh, I love Antifa, I instantly go, ooh, you're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. We are racist against races who are disturbing us directly. I don't know what that means. I think you might be saying it in a way that just makes you sound way worse than it really is. But I'm going to give you a little bit of slack on that one, because that just sounded really bad. But yeah, no, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that this is the world we're in now. Like, I thought with COVID, everybody would be a little bit more understanding of everybody else because the situations are so much the same now. Like, the fact that we can go outside sometimes with a mask, like, everybody's going through the same shit right now. That's essentially what I'm thinking. So why is it that we have to like double down on our narcissistic tendencies or our racisms or any of that? Why do we double down on it? Why is it human nature? Well, maybe not human nature, but why is it American nature to just somehow manage to take a situation and just make it worse constantly? Like, that's how I feel America is right now. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? Welcome. it's a strange development. It's odd. I don't like it. I really don't like it. But it's the world we live in for now. And honestly, I knew if Biden got back in as president, it wouldn't get any better. In fact, all it did was make things worse because Biden's not doing anything that he promised. He's making the border worse. He's basically cut all ties with like BLM at this point, and they basically just don't even get the support that they were promised. And like the thing is I think BLM deserves at least some of the promises that Biden gave them, but the fact is like you got to put Antifa away too. Like Biden's got to do something about getting rid of Antifa, but he's not going to do it. I don't even think he knows what day it is anymore. Like the guy's fucking nuts. Oh, did I tell you that I got first dose of vaccine yesterday? No, you didn't. Congratulations. How do you feel? Chilling and you? Hey, you know what? I'm just doing the podcast. And thankfully, because I put the chat on screen, people will actually know I'm talking to you sometimes if I decide to just start reading things out loud. I'm not going to be vaccinated, but just because I'm isolated on daily routine. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have to go through it and you basically just stay alone most of the time anyway, I don't see a necessary reason for it unless you were, I don't know, going to travel or some shit. Then I would probably say get it. Other than that, like, it's to each their own. Like there are some side effects with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that was very strange, where there was a minuscule amount of women that were getting blood clots, so they had to pull it and then put a warning on it, but then put it back out even though it still had that same issue. Like they didn't even change the formula on it. They didn't change anything with it. All they did was take it off of the market, figure out what the percentages of figure out the chance that you would actually receive that blood clot, and then decided to put it back out. And actually, they didn't even put any of the restrictions on it. It's like free for anybody at this point. And I was like, what the why'd you pull it if that's all you were going to do? Why didn't you change the formula or something? It's like, all right, well, never mind then. Wings has entered the podcast. I mean, it would be good if he did. I wouldn't mind having Wings of Redemption on the podcast. That'd be pretty dope. I don't believe that all big pharma thing. I don't know. It's weird because like Pfizer and Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson, they're all really big pharma companies. But I think the only one that's actually like viable is the Moderna one. I think the other ones are all not tested thoroughly enough, and I definitely am not going to trust any of those ones because they were rushed. They were 100% rushed. So I would rather do the Moderna one because they're the ones putting the most time into the actual development of it. So I feel like I would also have a less likely chance of dealing with harsher symptoms. Feeling normal on my shoulder, hurts a bit, but not too bad. That's not bad, not bad. Yeah, the Moderna one is the one that I think is going to be the best one. And just based on what you told me, I feel like I'm right, because a lot of the times when people are getting the AstraZeneca or the Pfizer vaccine, they end up with this thing called the COVID rash. Apparently it's a thing where you get an injection and all of a sudden you get like this huge rash on your entire arm, and then it just gets like really itchy and swollen. I'm like, oh, that that doesn't sound great. And then fucking Moderna comes out with theirs and nothing's wrong with it. Like that. Well, I mean, other than the main side effects that you would even get from like a flu shot, but muscle soreness is normal and shit like that's normal. You should have said that they got autism because of that. I'm not Alex Jones. I honestly don't believe that you get autism from vaccines. That I think is fucking asinine. Oh my, that sounds horrible. It doesn't seem that... Apparently it goes away after like 48 hours, but I wouldn't want to have to deal with... That just seems so inconvenient. Like, why? Why does it do that rash? Why can't you fix that? Why does COVID itself not give the rash, but the vaccine does? That's the part that gets me. Why is the vaccine causing the rash, but it's not a symptom of COVID? So what's in it? Are there people just allergic to egg, and because it's made out of like a chicken embryo, it's just causing an allergic reaction? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not a scientist. All I know is that when I'm putting things in my body, I want it to be the ones that had the longest R&D. Like when it came to the weed that I vape, wherever that is, somewhere in the house, the weed that I vape, the one that I chose is the one that actually had the longest development time. And the reason for that is I don't want to deal with some shoddy workmanship. I want something that's actually going to last and something that's worth the quality. And I don't know, with the Pfizer vaccine especially and the AstraZeneca ones, those ones were rushed way too quickly. I know it was like a high in demand thing that we need to get this out now, we need it. And I get they had to do that, but still, it's like, I don't know. It's just you should never rush for things like that, especially when there's risk that you will still kill people anyway, right? Like, I don't know. If they took an extra 2 months on that and like probably like with Johnson & Johnson, let's use them as an example. If they took an extra 2 months on their research and development, they probably would have seen that blood clotting thing is a possibility, and then they would have fixed it before they put it onto the market. But we've now seen that it's still going to have that blood clotting thing, and it's the only vaccine that has the blood clotting thing. And I'm trying to figure out why that's so different. Like, what are they doing that the other 3 companies aren't? Yet it's still supposed to be as effective? Like, what is it? What is it that's in there that's causing the blood clotting, but the other ones aren't? It's just odd. It's strange. Weed is still illegal in Poland? Ah, that's unfortunate, my dude. Weed is like the only thing that keeps me sane during these times anyway. But yeah, no, I think one day we just need to have, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, right, the vaccine. I think we just need to have like one, maybe not one company, but we shouldn't have like big pharma constantly being in it, because we know they're only in it for the money. Like, there's probably a cure for cancer out. This is very tinfoil hatty though, by the way. There's probably a cure for cancer out there already, but they're not releasing it because they make more money off chemo. I mean, it's reasonable to think that, because why make it so that you can't get cancer again with a cure when you can, you know, just milk them for chemo money? What do you mean, nah? What makes you think that they don't have the ability to cure cancer? There's no way they would release that now. Not for Big Pharma, anyway. Big Pharma has too many hands and too many wallets, and if they give out some of those cures, they won't get those bucks back, if that makes sense. Unless they were to make it astronomically priced. Like, they'd have to make it like $1 million. There's too many talented med students? Yeah, but talented med students can also be subject to NDAs. It doesn't mean that they know how to get the cure. Most doctors don't know how prescriptions work. At least I don't think they do. Or maybe not how they work, but I don't think they know how to make the medication. Doctors know how to fix you, but they know what to give you, and they know what the side effects will be, but they don't know how to make it, is what I'm trying to say, I think. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, they could have that type of... So there's too many chem students? Again, but that's the thing. Like, there have been people that have come out and said that they've come up with a cure for cancer and then instantly have been silenced. There is a chance that that exists. Like, look at Area 51, for example, with all the UFO stuff. There is UFO evidence, but we didn't get to see it until very recently. So what else could the world be hiding, right? It just makes sense that there are some secrets out there that even we don't know. And I feel like the cure for cancer would be one of them. Especially since it would fuck over big tobacco, and it would fuck over pharmacies and shit like that. Actually, it might not fuck over big tobacco. Big tobacco might be better off with the cure for cancer, because then everybody would start smoking. So actually, I take that back. It's only Big Pharma who doesn't benefit from it. And potentially the government. I don't know why the government, but potentially the government. And they could just avoid trying to give people the cure, because if we start saving more lives, it means population expands too quickly, and then our resources go away much faster. It's another reason it could be. Maybe they just can't have it. Or maybe they just can't have it so that we're living longer than we need to. That's just business. That's just how it is. I'm glad my meds are cheap. Yeah, fair enough. In Canada, it's kind of the same way. As long as it's like a required prescription, then you're good. If it's stuff like you definitely don't need, but you're doing it for fun, like weed, they don't cover it. But like for like mental health medications like SNRIs, for example, those would be covered. Oh, my chest is killing me. Oh, okay. So... I learned something interesting about how big of a file my streams are going to be. So that one World of Warcraft stream that I did, literally just before this podcast, ended up being about 167 gigabytes. That's just the stream itself. So this one's probably going to be just as big, if not bigger, because the detail on this is going to be a little bit more high def than the polygons that are on there. But my God, I was not expecting that type of recording. 167 gigs. It's going to take me like 5 hours to render that into something like uploadable to YouTube. Because they're not going to let me upload a nearly 200 gigabyte file to YouTube. There's no way. So I will say this podcast will not be out until sometime tomorrow evening on YouTube. So if you miss it tonight, don't worry, it will be there tomorrow. Or I guess if you're listening to this, it'll be there now. You're watching it. So what the fuck am I talking about? What's wrong with me, everybody? What's wrong with me? Okay, one of the other things I wanted to bring up. This is a really strange conversation. I think I've covered a lot of topics and I've gone off the deep end on like a couple things, and there's people listening going like, what the fuck is he talking about? And I completely agree with you. What the fuck am I talking about? But no, like, okay, so here's another thing I find super interesting, and that is the amount of people that I've watched on YouTube that are now getting fucking caught being pedophiles. Like, what's the deal with that? The 2020 to now has been like a really strange year for that. I remember recording with Fraps where 1 minute was 3 gigabytes. I remember that too, man. I remember that, trying to do like let's play videos. I think it would be like 30 minutes at a time, because it would be like 100 gigabytes or 120 gigabyte file, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck. But yeah, no, like, what's the deal with everybody becoming pedophiles? Like, I don't get it. EDP is the most recent one, but like, I don't remember a lot of the, like, James Charles is another one that's got like a high profile one that's been in the news for a little bit here. Call Me Carson got hit for that, but it was super stupid because he was 19 and she was 17. That I find, come on, don't be a fucking bitch about it. They didn't even have sex. So yeah, no, Call Me Carson gets a pass on that one, at least in my books. That's stupid. If he was 21 and she was 17, then I'd be like, okay, dude, what the fuck? But yeah, like, if there's like a 2-year age difference, that's dumb as shit. But then like EDP's one, and then Ryan Haywood from Rooster Teeth, he ended up being a fucking pedophile. He ended up like actually like having photos and shit with not kids, but like teenagers, and there's a whole lot of dirty stories about him. He was a monster for years, and I always thought there was something really fucked up about him. He seemed, I don't know, I always thought he was spurgy, but now I kind of understand he's just a man that had a lot of secrets he didn't want released. In Poland, most pedophiles are churches for some reason. I mean, that's kind of the same thing here. Just, I think that's a requirement for the Catholic Church. You have to be interested in people that look like they're under 18. I think that's just how it is. I don't know why, but it's just how it ends up being. Or if you are a pedophile, you just join the church because they're willing to save you in Vatican City. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. I don't remember God being a pedo, but for some reason, everybody that seems to worship him is. As strange as that sounds. Power makes people want new experiences. See, yeah, but that's the thing, is why do you want that experience? Like, that's an experience I don't think I'd ever want. It makes no sense. Like, I won't even watch, like, Lolita porn. No matter if they say it's, like, a 500-year-old vampire. I just can't. It's just odd to me. No. Big no. Like, a good example of that is when you're watching To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, like, and you see the decoys, and they're like 20 or 19, and they look like they're 12. I don't sit there and go, yeah, I want to see more. I sit there and I go, how do you find a boyfriend looking like that? And how do you not get worried when you do finally find that boyfriend? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, why was he attracted to you? And did he know you were that age before he was attracted to you? You know what I mean? Because like for whoever like falls into that relationship, they could have been like, well, I might get arrested being with you. And then she's like, oh, I'm 19. And he's just like, perfect. Like, that would just be weird. That would be strange. So I always like look at them and I'm like, how do you get a relationship looking as young as you do? And then that makes me think of like Andy Milanakis, because Andy Milanakis is an interesting case because he has that growth hormone deficiency and it constantly makes him look like a 14-year-old. So how did he manage to do it? Well, I mean, I guess with it being 2015 to 2021 that he became popular, if anything, people just probably thought he was a lesbian. But like, I just don't understand how he's supposed to live a normal life. Well, I mean, I guess because he's famous, people know about his condition, but still, like, I don't get it. I don't understand the need to want to experience young illegal children. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. Hey, Salad, how's it going? So, I don't know. I found it so weird that, like, all of a sudden, oh, well, thank you. This isn't the layout I was going for. This was just a makeshift one I made in 10 seconds just so I can make a solo podcast tonight because I don't have the green screen. So I just pop this bad boy up and away we go. The next week, though, it'll be the nice green screened layout ready to go. But yeah, no, like it's weird because Ryan Haywood, I always thought was really funny, but he always had like this weird aura to him. And I thought it was just because he might have been like, again, spurgy, but no, he was a pedo. I just thought he had Asperger's. Man, to imagine trying to hide that secret though for as long as he did. He hid it for like 5 years. Like, how the fuck do you do that? And then like, how are you able to look yourself in the mirror? I don't get it. And the guy has kids. Like, excuse me? And of course he like goes away and all of a sudden he decides to try to make a comeback. Like you're allowed to do that when you've already abused your power for almost half a decade? I don't think so. I'm glad Twitch decided to ban him. It'd be different if there was like no evidence or like it was like sketchy or there was like any reason to doubt it. But nope, I have no doubts that he did it. I've seen the videos. They are weird. They're weird videos. But that was disappointing because then Adam Kovic had to leave at the same time because his nudes got leaked on the internet. But he didn't leave because he was his nudes got leaked. He left because he was a sexual degenerate or some shit. But he wasn't like going after underage fans. He was like trying to hit on fans. So at least he was abusing his power, but not for anybody under 18. So at least, hey, he's got that benefit going for him. So if he decides to come back to the internet world, I'll probably support him. I mean, I like Adam Kovic. His dry humor was great. I just hope he decides to take this as a moment to be like, well, I probably shouldn't abuse my power again. And then he comes back. It would suck if he came back and then immediately just did some worse shit. I couldn't if that was the case. But yeah, no, I'd be fine with Adam Kovic coming back just because again, he's not a pedophile. He's well, I guess it's technically a hepaphile, but whatever. Pedophile's more well known. But yeah, that was the first one that really surprised me in 2020 was that it was in October when that happened. And then everything just like changed on Rooster Teeth and Funhouse and everything just like went super PC and then they couldn't make certain jokes and then they became super advertiser or friendly and shit like that. And they went from being Funhouse to like sellouts. It was really strange. So men are all about sex no matter who it's with. If that was the case, it wouldn't have been such a dry spell for me. No, I've got standards. So not all men. But yeah, no, it was strange. Like just to watch the evolution of that channel change just because one dude fucked it up for everybody else. Not to mention the corporate overlords that had purchased Rooster Teeth ended up fucking with it too. But still, like they can't make the same jokes they used to. They're no longer Funhouse. They're just sellouts. They're no longer a channel that anybody wants to deal with. That's why Bruce left. That's why Lawrence left. And the only ones that stayed there are Elise and James, and that's just because they're probably getting paid a fuckload to stay there and try to make an easy transition for everybody else, which is fine. It makes sense. Just not underage kids. Everything else is okay. That's how I feel. Alana left too, right? Yeah, Alana did leave. She's working at the studio. I think it's Santa Monica, the studio that did God of War. She works there, and she's also a Twitch streamer now too. So she even branched off, and she wasn't even that entertaining. She's definitely like entertaining in her own right, but out of the group of people that she always worked with, she was very much the straight man. Kind of like how Adam Kovic was the straight man. But it's just interesting to see that so many people have left there, so that whenever somebody, like a large group of people, start jumping ship and becoming more successful on other things, that's usually a good sign that that company's not going to last much longer. And the biggest hint to that was, I think, just before everything, like all the shit hit the fan, Funhouse was getting like 20 or 30 million views a month. Ever since they got rid of all their people, almost all the originals, they went down to about 5 million views a month. So it's not looking great for them. And they keep trying to pander too. Like the amount of times that they have people on like for inclusivity and shit like that, it's just like, we know you're pandering. Why can't you just bring on Raul? He's a minority. Why do we have to have people we don't necessarily like come onto the channel just so you can push some narrative? Just have Raul on. Have Raul on and just have a good time. But Raul won't go on because he doesn't want to deal with everybody else because he's friends with Lawrence and Bruce and Alana. So where's his incentive to go on there anymore? But I don't know. It's just strange to see the amount of people that they're willing to pander to without actually like trying to build up their audience. It's an odd situation. So Funhouse is basically dead. They're dead in the water. I would want James and Elise to jump ship pretty soon just so that they're not going to sink with it. Same with John, both the Johns and Ryan. They need to get out of there. They need to find a better place to go because they're talented. They're very funny. I would love to see them all in a new channel where they're not controlled by some douchebag behind a desk wearing a button-up shirt pretending he knows what humor is, and anytime you don't laugh, he fines you or fires you. That's just the type of feel I get from that place now. But yeah, no, the James Charles one was surprising, but also not surprising, because if you remember his fucking little beef with oh shit, who was the other one? That other beauty guru, whatever. She like exposed him for being a predator a long time ago, and then he was just like, no, I'm not a predator. Oh my god, let me do my makeup again. But and then it like turned out that it was 100% correct. He's like super predatory, and he's like always going after straight dudes. Like he's constantly trying to manipulate people into making them think they're gay, and if he doesn't successfully do it, he just like gets all mad at them and uses his power. It's a strange dynamic. He's a really creepy guy. Fucking James Charles is like the creepiest person on YouTube, and that's saying a lot because David Dobrik's on there too, and he almost killed his friend for a vlog. I don't understand why LGBT won't stop crying. It's like almost all Europe is okay with LGB, but still trying to get with more and more weird things. Well, that's the thing. Like, for me, the LGBTQ plus category, like, I don't see why you need the plus. Like, you have the ladies, the ladies. You have the lesbians, the gays, the bisexuals, the transgender, and the non-binary. Why do you need more than that? Like, that's 5 things. What else is there? I mean, is asexual a sexuality? I mean, if you're asexual, you don't have sexuality. That's the whole point, right? So why is there a plus instead of an N? Because it should just be LGBT N. I also don't understand why they put like Q in there. How could you be queer but not gay or lesbian? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems strange to me. Why do they have to have so many different names for the same thing? It's not like the plus is like, oh, you could be a dinosaur, or you can identify as a Chevy Camaro. It's not like that's what the plus means. You can't like identify as a fursona. It's just your sexuality. So why is there more than just the 5? I mean, I can get asexual if you really want to throw it in there, but if somebody's watching this, can somebody enlighten me as to why there has to be so many different like extras? Because like I feel like LGBTN covers everything. I mean, we don't have problems with who have sex with who, but they're really pushy about BLM and other leftist things. Yeah, see, I'm kind of I find that interesting too. Is like, for me, I was always raised with a, what's the word I'm looking for? With an acceptance. Like I always accept people for who they are. If somebody came up to me and they were like, I'm gay, I'll be like, oh, cool. All right, that doesn't change anything. I'm a lesbian, doesn't change anything. To me, it doesn't change anything. When you start like telling me you identify as a reindeer that is also a man and a woman, then I get a little worried, because it's like, why why are you identifying as a deer? I'm fine with you identifying as a man and a woman. That's just non-binary. Because I'm pretty sure non-binary means that you have you have you have the ability to feel or be both genders. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe I don't even know what that is. I like pretending to be gay in school with my friend. Nice. I remember doing that too. I mean, I still do that now. But yeah, no, I've always been accepting of like people and who they are. So I've never really understood like the people that are like, oh, super homophobic or racist or shit like that. Because to me, being black doesn't change who you are. Being Latino doesn't change who you are. Being white doesn't change who you are. I mean, to me anyway, a person is based on their personality. That's why person is in personality. It's just whoever you as a person are, I can hate. And in most cases, I typically do. But it's never because of what you put in your mouth or in your ass or in your veg. It doesn't matter. I don't care about that. I don't care about your sexuality. I don't care about your race. I only care about your personality. And if it's shit, I'll let you know. Just as I expect you to let me know if mine is shit. Is where you don't identify as any specific gender, I think. Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay. So I was kind of on the right fence where it's like you kind of identify as both, but it depends on the day kind of thing. Or is that something else? I don't know. I'm sure there's people that are going to be in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the comment section being like, no, this is what non-binary is. And it'll actually be pretty eye-opening because I'm not willing to go and research it myself. Reason for that is I'm usually too busy. But yeah, that's interesting. It is interesting. For me, people of other race have just higher chance to be bad person. Not all of them, of course, just higher chance. Interesting. I wonder if that's just how Poland is. Because, like, I know everywhere has different ideals. Like, here in Canada, being white, you're a minority. You are, like, the smallest population there is. Especially, well, maybe not in Canada, but in BC for sure. Vancouver's population is something like 90% Asian, and yes, that is split between East Indian and Asian. And then I think it's like 4% white, 4% black, and 2% native. It's really small amount for everything else, but majority, like a vast majority, is Asian. So for me, it's like if I was racist, I would hate everybody. But unfortunately, or well, I guess fortunately, I'm not racist. That's just how I was raised. I was raised in a city where everybody was different. Whether you were gay, straight, bi, nothing, white, black, Asian, brown, native, or I guess, is native okay? I don't know what they'd like to be called anymore. I know that sounds strange, but I know everybody always changes what they like to be called. Like I know black people want to be called African American, but what is that in Canada? Is that African Canadian? Anyway, every black person I've ever met doesn't care if they're called black, but if you start using the hard R, they will care. It depends on the day. That sounds about right. But I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, I was hoping for, I don't know. I guess as I was growing up, I was hoping it wouldn't continue progressing to a point of its absurdity. I thought it was going to plateau and just kind of stay as a general acceptance, and then they could build off of that acceptance and evolve it down the road instead of constantly trying to change it to something that fits somebody else's needs. Like, I know that sounds really self-centered, but if there's one person out there in the world that I identify as a Black & Decker power drill, I don't think the entire world should have to accept that their pronoun is Black & Decker or power drill. I don't think that should be the case. I get like they might identify as a male power drill, in which case I would say that their pronouns are him and their, or him and he, or female, or that would be she and her, or nothing, in which case that's they, them. That's fine with me. All of that's fine. But it's the absurdity of becoming an inanimate object, or even just like a horse, or anything other than human. It's just so weird. That's what I like about you. You don't care. I told you that I liked women over men, but I still like men, but it's rare. Well, that's just what being bi is all about. Like, that's a thing for me. Like, I've had sex with a dude. I have. It's just how it is. I've done that. And it was more out of curiosity than anything else. It's how I found out I don't like it. So, that's just like the oddness of how accepting I am. It's like, I'm curious. So I went out and did it. Didn't like it. yeah, wasn't for me. But if anything, it just made me more accepting of other people that do enjoy it. Because it's like, I've tried it. I can see why others would like it. It's just not for me. And I think that's what I like about my own mentality, is I'm very accepting of pretty much anything. The world is just getting more pretentious. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I feel like we're just replacing how religion controlled lives with how culture is now going to control lives. Especially like PC culture. PC culture is just the new Christian church from back in like the medieval times. You go against what we believe in, we'll tax you and kill you, and then we'll be praised. That's essentially what everything's becoming nowadays. You step slightly outside the norm, we'll ruin your life and buttfuck you until you're dead. That's how it works. And then everybody will get praised for it. They'll be like, oh, yay, look at that. Your penis shot right out of his face. And then everybody's clapping, and it's just like, oh, why? Why are you accepting of this? Why do you let PC culture control your life just because of little feelings got hurt? Your little feelings got hurt? See, I don't understand why people always have to make such a big deal when their feelings get hurt. I don't. I don't know a lot of people who do. Like, if somebody came up to me and started making fun of me, I'd like, bullying me, I'm not going to be like, I will end your life. I'm going to cut you. I'm going to fucking murder you. I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why as soon as your feelings are hurt, you have to ruin somebody's life. And I know it's like mostly for internet clickbait and clout and shit like that, but it's just asinine. It's stupid. There's no reason to go that way with it. There's no reason to have to make every little hurt feeling somebody else's problem. This is why everybody's on edge and anxious all the time. Because if you go outside and you make a joke and somebody hears it 2 blocks down the road, they'll run at you with a fucking knife and slit your throat because it hurt their feelings. That's how the world is now. And that's kind of disturbing. It's really fucked up. That's why I kind of liked the early 2000s the most, because it was like a good balance of acceptance. Like, everybody was okay with people being gay, or at least it was starting to get that way. But you could make a joke and not lose your job and your house and your family and even your life because of it. So nowadays, we're living more in 1984 than ever before. And with companies like Google and Facebook and Elon Musk, or I guess his is, what is his? His is Tesla and SpaceX. That's the other one. Things like that controlling everything, it's very much becoming 1984. Like Susan Wojcicki, oh my goodness, I can't believe she got a Freedom of Expression Award after her silencing so many creators. Or maybe not her personally, but after her giving the go-ahead to silence so many creators. She got a Freedom of Expression Award? Like, really? That's like giving Hitler a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, god damn. I'm not saying she's as bad as Hitler, but I'm using it as like the same idea. Like, it's another person who doesn't deserve that award getting that award. Or it's like Putin getting like a humanitarian award, right? Like, come on. Come on. Susan paid for that award and everybody knows it. And she's just going to pretend that she never did. It's like, you're the place that gave you that award, you found it. Like, you gave money to. Of course they're going to give you an award. They're broken. Nobody trusts them. They're basically just like the truth. What was it? The Truth Bureau? Is that what it was called in 1984? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read that book. Then Shrek the Ogre is going to claim medieval. Wait, what? What's he going to do? Didn't you make a tweet about that at one time? I did. And that was because I was so mad. Like, after everything YouTube did to my main YouTube channel just to get it fucking destroyed, like, the fact that she got a Freedom of Expression Award made me pissed. I wouldn't kill her or anything. I'm not like that. I wouldn't be like that person that's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was just pissed that she even had the nerve to give herself that award. That would be like if I gave myself the best looking skinny man award currently. Like, I'm fat as fuck. So it's clearly a lie. So I was just mad that she had the nerve to do that when she's already like a billionaire in charge of $1 billion company. She has the nerve to try to lie to us even further. It's like, come on, just stop with it. Just accept the fact you're not trustworthy. Everything you do is fucking shitty, and just take your paycheck. That's all she has to do. I don't get it. I don't get why she has to like try to give herself accolades for something that And honestly, nobody believes. There's not a single creator that's just like, yeah, she deserves that award. Yeah, I looked. There's not a single creator that thinks she deserves that award unless she paid them for it. And I've looked. I couldn't find a single person that was like, oh, congratulations. Oh my God, you totally deserve it. Everybody was just like, how in the fuck dare you? So it's one of those situations where it's like, it's just so odd. It's so shitty. But of course, she's going to do it, and she's going to get away with it, and she's not going to care what everybody else says, because by the time she even gets to see those comments, every single person that's employed with her has already removed them and removed all the likes and dislikes. And yes, she does remove YouTube does remove likes and dislikes. I know I keep saying she, but I feel like she has to be the one giving the go-ahead for this. But YouTube has removed likes and dislikes before. Even on my first episode of the podcast, they removed 6 of the likes that I got on the video, and they removed 8 of my subscribers that I had just gotten from that video, and they didn't give them back. So that's why I made that tweet, because it's like, you have some fucking nerve, YouTube, to try to like stagnate the growth of channels just because you want to be in control. It's fucking nutty. It's fucking bonkers. And I'm pissed that that even happened. I'm so mad that that even happened. Oh man, I'll never get over that. But this is why we need alternatives to YouTube. That's why I've been uploading to BitChute and shit like that, because if YouTube goes down, I want to have a place I can call my own. And the only one that even seems like a viable place to store videos is, well, BitChute. They're the most YouTube-like out of all of them. And they don't seem to have a cap on the amount of videos I can upload either. Whereas some of the other ones do. But yeah, YouTube, Susan did not deserve that Freedom of Expression Award. It's so stupid. That's how DSP would talk to people for begging money? Wait, what would he do? I liked your first one yesterday. I hope it did not take it off. No, it did have an extra like in there, so it was you that liked it. Okay. Yeah, no, they didn't remove them now. I think they just removed them because it happened so quickly after the upload based on my previous uploads. I don't know. I don't know what their algorithm is. All I know is that their algorithm is shit, and this is why everybody's like switching over to Twitch streaming when you're gaming. There just has to be a better option than YouTube out there. They need to make one. They need to make something that can compete with it. But the problem is anything that can compete with it needs to have like $1 billion backing so they can have the servers to host that many videos. And the only people that I could think of that are going to do that would be like Amazon. And even then, I don't think they would be any better than YouTube would be. I mean, look at Twitch's rules. You're subject to almost anybody's hurt feelings at any time. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll be on here as long as I can be. Oh, because of DSP having tax issues? So, okay, Darkside Phil's an interesting, like, case study. One thing that I've found about this guy, I like how this is going to be my second podcast. We're already talking about Darkside Phil. Darkside Phil is an interesting one because I actually do give him credit for being quite smart. The problem is his smarts are going into very mischievous ways of trying to steal money from his fans. And yes, I do use the word steal, because technically everything he's saying about taxes and all that is most likely a lie. I mean, there's no way that dude's making $120,000 to $140,000 a year and doesn't have enough money to pay his tax guy. Like, come on. Come up with some better excuses. Put your cat behind a paywall again. See how much money you get for it. Tell them if you don't get enough money, Jasper stays in the basement. that way you can at least milk your fans for as much more as you can get. But I don't know. I give him credit for being smart. It's just he's very manipulative. And the amount of hypocrisy I see from that guy on an almost daily basis is just so baffling to me. Like, he'll say one thing, and then he'll say, like, but don't believe the others. They don't have any evidence. The evidence is all on me. And then when you ask to see the evidence, he's like, ban him. And then it's like, okay. Are you all right? I was just asking if I could see the evidence. And it's like, no, you're not allowed to see the evidence. Detractors will be able to find out where I live. It's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Fuck you. I don't care anymore. You're kind of a dick. Agreed, especially when he has a decent amount of YouTube subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, but he's also lying about how much he makes off of YouTube. Like, he gets 1 million views a month, and I would say out of that, considering there's all of his videos are like hour-long videos, he probably makes about $2,500 a month off YouTube. That's Canadian, by the way. So let's say maybe 1,900 US. So this dude's making 140 grand plus from Twitch, and then like another 20 to 30 off of YouTube. That's insane. How is this guy still broke? How did he get a bankruptcy? I don't understand how half of that stuff went through, unless he heavily lied on a lot of his sheets. Do Canadians like their government? No. Our government's fucking stupid. We really need a different prime minister. Justin Trudeau's a fucking cuck, and literally every single person in the parliament's an idiot. I could run my country better. And I am not that much smarter than most of the people in parliament, but I do consider myself smarter than every politician that is currently working in parliament. Like in Poland, dude, this is something I tweeted out yesterday. I think there should be an age limit to how long you could be serving in parliament. Well, I guess in government, really. I feel like once you've hit government level status and you're a politician, once you hit 55, you're retired. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're not allowed to be in here any longer. And the reason for that is your mentality is already too old. You were raised at a time where shit was so backwards that it's not going to benefit anybody except for like maybe yourself. And then that's it. You're just there for the paycheck. So I feel like if you're a politician and you're past the age of 55, you should be completely kicked out. That's it. You should just be gone. No more. Nothing. And then a younger person takes over with just as much education, but I guarantee you they will probably do a whole lot more. Bet Canadian government's better than American? Not by much. We just have better healthcare. Other than that, America's kind of better. If America had our healthcare, I'd be over there instead of here. That's just kind of how it is. But that's also because our government's kind of, well, like I said, stupid. There's not a single thing they've done other than like the COVID relief that I thought was good, but they even handled the quarantine and all that very poorly. They didn't like cancel any flights or anything, even though there was people that had like different variants and strains coming into Ontario. So Ontario's kind of fucked right now. Like even BC, we just started spiking. Like we were like this most of COVID, and then now we're just like boom, like hit the ceiling. It's insane. Somehow we ended up worse than we were before. And if anybody's like, we're just doubling down on masks and everything. It's still not doing anything. My friend ported his business to Romania because he can pay only 1% of tax. Yeah. I mean, they do the same thing in Canada, and they do the same thing in the States. I know that, like, for entertainment purposes like mine and shit like that, where I live, it's completely fine. But if I started making, like, big bank, I would probably have to move to Alberta to dodge major taxes. But, like, that's why everybody in LA ended up moving to Texas back in, like, back when Biden took over, because his tax plan was going to fuck over everybody in LA. So all the big streamers that were in LA and, wait, no. That's not right. It wasn't Biden's tax plan. I guess it was California's tax plan. I don't know how that worked. It might have been the state tax. Yeah. So something happened with the state tax that literally made every creator jump ship and go to like Texas. And I was like, what? Why? Wait, what just happened? And then like everybody went there. It was insane. I wouldn't mind going to Canada so I can meet the Trailer Park Boys. They are pretty epic. From what I've heard, they're pretty cool. I heard a story yesterday that somebody was telling me. I think it was Vicky Savage. One day maybe I'll have her on the podcast and she could tell that story. I'm not going to steal that from her, but apparently they're really cool guys. I like what I'm hearing about BC. A lot of Asians, good-looking nature. Oh, it's amazing nature. And the Chinese food in Vancouver, oh, pristine. It's the best you'll get. It's better than any you'll find in America. It's the closest thing you'll get to Chinese food from China. And it's really tasty. It's one of my favorite things. And they make spicy food spicy. I love spicy food. It's so hard to find a place that'll actually like live up to spicy when they put that in the title. But there was this, I think it was, I can't remember. There was a place down in Vancouver. I can't remember the name of it, but they dealt with a lot of chow mein, and they had this thing called spicy chow mein, and I was like, well, what's in it? And they didn't speak very good English. They were just like, chow mein noodle, so spicy, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll try it. They were like, and then they looked me up and down. They were like, white boy, gonna try the spicy noodle, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try the spicy noodle. So then they brought it out to me, and it was like the spiciest thing I've had in like years at that point. It was easily like 1,000,000 Scoville. And I think it even like gave me a rash on my lips because of how hot it was. So, man, if you like spicy food, Vancouver's the place for you. There's also a lot of really good East Indian restaurants down there too. Really tasty food. Yeah, it's good. We've got some good Japanese restaurants now that do a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? A lot of the noodles. What are those called? Ramen. They do a lot of ramen, and those are really tasty. There's one restaurant in particular at Metrotown that I enjoy quite a bit. Their noodles were fantastic. I don't know if they're still open. I haven't gone to them since before COVID, so I don't know if they were really hit hard by that or not, but hard to say. In Poland, we don't have much Asian food places, but kebab is praised here. See, that's one thing I don't think I've seen in Vancouver. I've never really seen a kebab shop. I know in Europe that's pretty common. I've seen kebab shops a lot in England specifically, like UK, England. It's kind of like a big thing. That and like Chinese takeout. That's what I've heard about it. So I don't know. I've thought about having it before, but I guess my question is, are heroes the same? Like, I guess for somebody who doesn't know what a hero is, like a gyro, that's how it's spelt, like gyro, but it's called a gyro. Are they kebab meat that's in there? If that's the case, then I have tried it and it's good. It's extremely cheap, good, and have a lot of calories. Ooh, maybe not the best thing for me to have then. Should probably avoid that, even though I'm eating whatever I want anyway. Like today I had the ghost pepper McChicken, which was spicy, but you know, not as spicy as what you would expect for ghost pepper. And I had some poutine, but I still didn't gain any weight. In fact, I somehow lost weight. So, hey, cool. Kind of like gyro. Okay, good. Then, yeah, I've had kebab meat, and it's really tasty. I remember, isn't kebab meat usually like lamb, if I'm not mistaken? Like kind of like mutton? Because I really do enjoy like lamb and goat meat. I like the gaminess of it. It just has that extra little texture and that little bit of flavor that you wouldn't get with beef. Whereas beef is like, it's very much what you would expect. Like when you hear the stories of beef and you taste beef for the first time, you're like, yeah, that's beef. But then when you try goat for the first time and you're not used to the gaminess of it, you're like, is there something wrong with this beef? And then somebody's like, it's goat. And then you're like, oh, so I'm tasting the sheep's owner, I see. It's main dish of all students in Poland. Oh, I didn't know. That's good to know. So it is kind of a European thing where like kebab meat is kind of a universal thing. It's kind of like how sushi's become universal in Canada. It's good with alcohol and it's cheap. Ooh, not bad. Alcohol and cheap. That's not a bad mixture. Not in my books anyway. That's a pretty good mixture. But yeah, no, like it's I think I might want to try kebab meat next time I go down there. So kebab is Greek food, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's from Greece? I don't know why, but I think I remember. No? What? Oh, it's... Okay. I was in the general area. Like, it's across the little ocean from there, but... You know what? I'll accept it. I could easily just Google this. Why aren't I just Googling it? Where was kebab invented? Oh, it's invented in Turkey. So it's close to Greece. So it was in Turkey. Got to get ready for bed. See you next time, Chris. Sounds good, Anthony. Sounds good. I'm going to be getting off soon anyway. Today is going to end up being a shorter podcast. I'm just extremely sore. So essentially, like the last couple days, I've been working out a lot, like more than I probably should have for being so stationary for so long. Essentially what I was doing was, my first day that I got the weights and I started on Sunday, I did about an hour workout and that was intense. That's not including the stretching and the warm up beforehand. So I worked out every muscle I could, and when I was done, I felt great. I didn't feel any soreness, no stiffness, nothing. Then I ended up taking a shower, and about 10 minutes later, I couldn't move at all. I was laying on the bed. I felt super sick, like I was about to throw up my stomach, because I guess I did way too much, and all of my muscles are so contracted that and constricted that it's just causing me to be like, bleh. Like, you know what I mean? It's a really strange feeling. But then, like, the second day I woke up, no soreness, did it again. I just did the same workout, but I did it a little bit faster with less breaks in between. And in about, I think it was about 45 to 50 minutes that I did that workout. When I was done that, I was in so much, well, not even really pain. I was just very, very sore anytime I moved. Anytime I was still, didn't hurt. But anytime I moved, it felt like I was trying to tear my muscles just for them to move. And even now it still kind of feels that way. That's kind of why you'll notice me like shifting in the chair, because I get sore from being in a certain position for so long. So today I didn't do any workout whatsoever, because I Googled it and I was like, well, I want to see like how long the DOMs last, which is just like delayed onset muscle soreness. So I just wanted to see how long those typically last. And it says 24 to 48 hours is standard. So I was like, okay, I'll take today off, and I'll take maybe tomorrow off if I need to. But if I'm feeling a little bit better, then I'll start my workout again, see what happens. But so far, I'm like able to move my arms a little bit more. Like, me being able to do this is huge. Me being able to mostly extend my arm is huge. But I don't know. It was just so odd. It was just so odd to feel this. What's your goal for when you want to finish your weight loss? My goal is between 215 and 220 pounds. So anywhere in between that, that's where I want to be. If I can't get to that weight because, like, let's say I put on too much muscle mass, then it's just whatever I get to at that point. I'll have to wait and see. But if I don't gain like too much muscle mass, then I want it to be around 215, 220. Weightlifting isn't the best for weight loss. You're right, but it is the best for gaining muscle mass, because I already have like a lot of fat built into my body. To do weight training first is best to build like bigger muscles, to get more jacked looking, so I'm not as lean. I want to be a little bit more bulky to fit my frame a bit better. So yes, I still do cardio. Like, I'll go for a run first as my warm up. I'll do like a 10-minute run around the like the city block here, and then I'll do some stretching, and then once that's done, then I'll do the weightlifting. But I'm doing the weightlifting specifically so I can bulk up, because when I did cardio before, back when I was 220-ish pounds, like 227 I think was my lowest, from when I was 520. When I got to that low, I noticed I was really skinny. Like, I had no muscle mass anymore. So I was like, uh-oh, I got to build that up next time. So when I ended up moving, because it was a spur of the moment move, I ended up getting depressed and gaining the weight back. But now I can train it a little bit differently and actually build up some of that muscle mass, so that when I lose the weight, it ends up balancing out a bit more, which will be nice. It'll be a good time. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with that now. So I don't know. We'll see how long that takes. So far, it's been 2 days. I'm down 3 pounds. So that's great. Or technically, this is my third day. What day is it today? Today's Tuesday. 1, 2. So today's the third day, and I'm down 3 pounds. So that's not bad. So far, it's a pound a day that I've been losing. If I keep this going and it ends up being where I want, like, I know it'll plateau and get harder and harder, but I'm thinking by the end of the year, I could be at my goal. Oh, for example, I'm giving myself till the end of the year to see what I'm at, but I'm thinking it'll take about a year for me to get to where I truly want to be. So I'm just going to do it that way and see what happens. But yeah, anyways, I know this was a short episode of the podcast. I did a longer stream earlier today. Wasn't really expecting to do such a long stream, but I ended up staying a little bit longer and doing some stuff. Also, wasn't expecting to be alone today, so I had a few topics that I will be bringing up the next week with some people, because I feel like I need to have people around for a live chat with that one. So I'm gonna save that for next week's, and just kind of feel around and see what people think about the new set when it shows up next week. That'll be great. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for stopping by for a great podcast and being such fantastic audience members. 3 workout days a week is enough. I'm going to be aiming for 5. So that's my goal, is 5 a week, 2 rest days. But they're going to be split up, like tapered in between. So it'd be like 2, 1, 3, 1, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next week for hopefully an even much longer podcast. Too much is not always best. You are correct. And I will make sure that I don't overdo it. I'm not the type of person that wants to hurt themselves. Not anymore, anyway. But yeah, no, great job, Sarah. I'm glad you were able to take part in all of it, and you even got to have a chit chat here. Hopefully next time you might even be able to be on it physically, which will be nice. And hopefully the set will look great, and we'll see where we go from there. Shouldn't burn muscles which are not recovered. Exactly. I completely agree, Pankin. Anyways, so I will see you all next week. Well, technically I'll see you in between that, but I'll see you all next week for the podcast. Love you guys. Bye-bye.